Why you do this? Understand yourself. You're not choosing to stay home. You're being quietly pushed out of your own life. And that's a very different reality. Because it doesn't feel like a decision. It feels like a limitation. A boundary you didn't set. A situation you didn't fully choose. You want to be there. That's the part people don't see. You want to say yes. You want to show up. You want to be included in those moments. But something blocks you before you even try. Sometimes it's money, and not in an abstract way. In a very real, uncomfortable, specific way. You check your balance. You calculate the cost. You feel the restriction instantly. Sometimes it's your energy, not laziness, actual emotional depletion, the kind that makes simple things feel heavy. Sometimes it's your current life situation. You're not where you thought you'd be. And that makes showing up feel exposed. Because now it's not just about being there. It's about being seen where you are. And that feels risky. So you pause, you hesitate, and then you don't go. And from the outside, it looks like nothing. But from the inside, it feels like everything. Because you just watched yourself step back again. And here's the uncomfortable part. This isn't just about missing events. It's about slowly disconnecting from your own timeline. And by the end of this, you're going to understand why this keeps happening. Even when you know you want something different. You've felt this moment more times than you want to admit. It always starts the same way. A message pops up, an invite, a plan, something simple. Let's go out, let's do this, come with us. And your first reaction is immediate. It's yes, not forced, not fake, a real yes. You picture yourself there. You imagine the energy, the conversations, the feeling of being part of something. And for a second, you're already included. Then something interrupts it, not externally, internally. You pause, you start checking things. Money first, always money first. Then time, then energy, then how you'd feel being there. Then how you'd look, then how you'd be perceived. And now it's no longer a yes. It's a calculation, a quiet negotiation with yourself. Is this worth it? Can I justify it? Will I feel okay there? And that's where the shift happens. Because now you're not deciding if you want to go. You're deciding if you're allowed to go. And most of the time, the answer becomes no. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly. And that quiet no hits harder than people think. But here's where it goes deeper. Because this doesn't stay practical. It turns psychological very quickly. Every time you can't show up, your brain tries to explain it. And it doesn't just explain it with facts. It explains it with meaning. You don't just think, I can't afford this. You start thinking, I'm not in that position. You don't just think, I'm tired. You start thinking, I don't have the energy for that kind of life. You don't just think, not today. You start thinking, that's not really me anymore. And this is the shift that changes everything. Because now the limitation becomes identity. Temporary constraints turn into permanent conclusions. And your brain loves doing this. Because it creates consistency. It makes your world predictable. If you believe, I'm not that person, then you don't have to feel the tension of wanting to be. It removes internal conflict, but it also removes possibility. And now you're not just missing moments. You're redefining your place in life. Without even realizing it, you start stepping out of spaces before anyone actually excludes you. And that's the part that hurts the most. Because it feels like life is rejecting you, when in reality, you slowly stopped entering it. And then comes the moment that hits hardest. You see what happened without you. Not abstractly, specifically, photos, videos, inside jokes forming in real time. Moments that now exist, without your presence in them. And something shifts in your chest. It's not loud jealousy. It's not even pure sadness. It's a very precise emotional combination. It's regret mixed with distance. It's awareness mixed with disconnection. You realize something uncomfortable. They moved on without me, and it worked. They laughed, they connected, they experienced something, and nothing stopped because you weren't there. And that thought lands quietly, but deeply, because now it's not just about missing out. It's about realizing you're not necessary for those moments to exist. And that creates a subtle identity hit. You start questioning your place, your role, your relevance, and your brain does something automatic. It compares, not fairly, not objectively, but emotionally. They're ahead, they're more social, they're more included, and you don't say it out loud, but you feel it. I'm outside, and once that feeling settles in, it doesn't leave quickly. Your body is not neutral in this. It's actively reacting, even if you think this is just circumstances. Because every time you feel left out, your system registers it as social loss. And social loss is not small. Your brain treats it as a threat to belonging, to safety, to identity. So your nervous system adjusts. It lowers your baseline energy. Not randomly, strategically, because if you don't have energy, you don't put yourself in situations where you could feel exposed. It's a protective shutdown. You feel tired before plans, drained before interaction, heavy when thinking about showing up. And that feeling feels real. It feels like proof. See, I don't have the energy for that life. But here's the twist. The exhaustion is not always physical. It's anticipatory. It's your system trying to avoid emotional risk. And the more you listen to that signal, the more your world shrinks to match it. So now your mind steps in to justify it. And it gets very convincing. I'll go when I'm more stable. I'll join when I have more money. I'll show up when I feel like myself again. These sound responsible. They sound like planning, but they quietly delay your life. Because there is always another condition, another thing to fix, another reason to wait, and life doesn't pause for that. It keeps moving, people keep forming connections, moments keep happening, and now something subtle happens. You start feeling out of sync, like everyone else is on a timeline, and you're slightly behind it. Not dramatically, just enough to feel it. And that creates pressure, because now it's not just, can I go? It's, do I even belong there anymore? And that question changes everything. This is the pattern you're stuck in. You get the opportunity, you feel the initial pull, you imagine yourself there, then reality interrupts. Money doesn't match, energy doesn't match, confidence doesn't match, so you pause, you delay responding, you start thinking instead of acting. You look for a reason that feels valid. You find one, you commit to not going. You feel immediate relief, the pressure disappears, but later, it comes back stronger. You see what happened, you feel the distance, and now the next time, you hesitate earlier, faster, more automatically, because the pattern is tightening. And this is where it becomes exhausting. Because you are split, not slightly, deeply. One part of you wants expansion, wants connection, wants movement, wants to be there. The other part wants control, safety, predictability, no exposure, no risk of feeling behind. And both sides make sense. That's the problem. There is no clear, wrong voice. So you stay stuck between them, wanting to move, but not moving, seeing possibilities, but not stepping into them. And that internal tension builds. Not explosively, but constantly, like background noise you can't turn off. This is the loop in full clarity. Opportunity appears, you feel desire, you check your situation, you feel limitation, you hesitate, you overthink, you withdraw, you don't go, you feel relief, then you observe from distance. Then comparison kicks in, then self-awareness hits, then your confidence drops slightly, then your identity adjusts, then the next opportunity comes. And now you're already starting from a lower position. So the loop repeats, tighter, faster, more automatic, until it feels like this is just your life. But this didn't start with money, or energy, or timing. Those are amplifiers, not origins. The deeper root is exposure. Moments where you felt out of place, where you showed up, but didn't feel like you belonged, where you compared yourself, and came up short, where you noticed differences, in status, in confidence, in lifestyle, and your system learned something. Be careful where you enter. Not every space is safe. And now, even neutral situations feel loaded, because your brain is scanning for signals. Do I fit here? Am I enough here? And if the answer feels uncertain, it pulls you back. Now this becomes who you think you are. Not loudly, quietly, I'm not in that phase. I'm not part of that crowd. That's not really my lifestyle. And again, some of that is true. But a lot of it is adaptation. You adjusted to your limitations, then turned that adjustment into identity. Because identity stabilizes discomfort. If you believe, this isn't me, you don't have to feel excluded. You just feel different. But here's the cost. You stop testing your own limits. You stop entering new spaces. You stop challenging your assumptions. And your world shrinks to match your identity. Now here's the part that actually matters. Nothing is wrong with you. Not in the way you think. You didn't fail socially. You didn't miss your moment. You adapted to constraints, real constraints, financial, emotional, situational, and you did it intelligently. You minimized discomfort. You reduced exposure. You created stability. That's not weakness. That's strategy. But now that same strategy is limiting your expansion, and seeing that clearly is where your control returns. So you don't fix this by forcing a new life. You fix it by creating access points. Smaller entries into life, not expensive ones, not high-pressure ones, accessible ones. You stop waiting for full alignment and start working with partial alignment. You don't need perfect energy. You need enough energy. You don't need full confidence. You need willingness. You don't need money for everything. You need to find environments that don't require it. Walks, simple meetups, short appearances, low-pressure interactions, because participation is not binary. It's scalable. And this is where most people stay stuck. They compare themselves to versions of life they couldn't realistically enter. That creates distortion. It makes you feel behind in a game you weren't even playing. So shift the metric. Stop measuring based on their access. Measure based on your reality. What is actually available to you? What can you step into today? Without forcing, without pretending, without overspending, without draining yourself completely. That recalibration changes your entire perception. Because now you're not outside life. You're just in a different entry point. Here's the real shift. You stop waiting for life to open the door fully. And you start opening smaller doors yourself. You don't need the full experience. You need contact with life. Consistent contact. Because your system needs repetition, not intensity. Small exposures, repeated over time, that's what rebuilds connection. That's what rebuilds confidence. That's what changes identity. Not one big night, not one big decision, but many small entries. And this reframes everything. You're not left out. You're underexposed. And exposure is something you can build. You were never meant to watch your life from a distance. But you were also never meant to wait for perfect conditions. Because they don't exist. There will always be something missing. Money, energy, timing, clarity. But life is not built in perfect moments. It's built in partial ones. Imperfect entries, small participation, repeated presence. And once you understand that, everything changes. Because now you're not waiting anymore. You're engaging, even if it's small, even if it's quiet, even if no one notices yet. And over time, that becomes your life again. So here's the question. Where are you telling yourself, I can't? When in reality, you could step into a smaller version of it today?